Mike on the line from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hello, Michael.
How are you doing?
Very well. Welcome to Call for Help.
Thank you. My question today is about search engine optimization.
SEO, we call that.
Yeah. Well, I'm the internet manager for a website, www.advercan.com.
What is ad? What?
Advercan, ADVERCAN. Basically, it's a protective cap that goes over soda and beer cans.
Oh.
And on top of these caps is advertising.
So this is why it's very important that people find your site.
Yeah, and I mean, we'd like Google searches like Can Top Advertising, Can Top Media,
Right.
Advertising Can to give us top ranking.
Right.
So I guess my question is, how can we get these prospective advertisers to find us?
They call it search engine optimization, but really it should just be Google optimization, shouldn't it? I mean,
Yeah, but I do understand that Google now really could care less about description tags and keyword tags.
Then, very intentionally, because the guys very early on found out there was a lot of fraud going on, that people were using these tags to try to convince Google that theirs was the number one site for a topic. And so Google says, that's what they say, they just look at your content of your site and they index that, and then they look at what other sites link to you. And the higher the ranking of the sites that link to you, the higher your ranking. That's, in a nutshell, the Google PageRank system, although we know more than we used to about that. Let me show you a couple of things, and actually I'm going to go to Amber on this because she's the web expert. But there's one thing I do want to say, which is that there are a lot of people doing this for a living. They're businesses based on search engine optimization. And in fact, they can help you. And I know a lot of sites that use SEOs and get value out of it. But there's also a lot of snake oil. And there's a lot of scam artists out there. So search engine optimization can be a mixed bag. Let me ask Amber, what do you think of SEOs? Do you think that's a good idea?
I think it can be a good idea if you have some money to spend and you want to invest in some professional help. But I think you can do a lot of this stuff on your own. And like Leo said, it does depend on a lot in terms of how many people are linking to your site.
That's the most important.
But it also depends on how fresh your content is. You'll notice when you do Google searches, a lot of blogs rise to the top of the search results. So because they're constantly being updated. So that's another thing you can do is really increase the amount of content on your site and have kind of regular publishing, whether it's in the form of a blog or something like that.
Let me show you. I'm going to put the link in the show notes to this. It's just a site I found with some fairly good information on what you can do, and they're even smart enough to say allegedly positive ranking factors, and they've got these. And there's some things like having a keyword in the URL. Well, that's true. If people are searching for Leo, they're more likely to find Leoville because Leo is in the URL. Exactly. So that helps. Keyword in the domain name, keyword in the tag type. I mean, all of these things are things that can help. And then they have negatives. Now, this is also important because, and this is my opinion, you've got to be very careful about search engine optimization because Google can actually downrank you if they think you're trying to trick the search engine. Google will say, there only are two things that matter. Having great content. Actually, they say only one thing matters. Having great content. And I think we all agree having other people link to you is very important. But let me show you what we now know about how Google's rankings work. And this is a little bit more than Google's ever admitted. They had to file for a patent application last summer. And there's an article here on Buzzle, BUZZLE.com, about what we've learned from the patent application. And there's some surprising things. Most of them are negatives, believe it or not. For instance, Google's trying to fight page spam, search engine spam. And one of the ways that happens is these sites create short-term little sites that link to each other. And, of course, the cross-linking helps the ranking. So Google is less likely to rank you higher if you register your site name for a year. Now, this is totally counterintuitive. It's good to register your site name for a longer period of time, not because it'll raise your ranking, but it's less likely that Google will what they call sandbox you, keep you out of the search results.
Okay.
So there's a lot of information on here about things not to do or things that are good to do, mostly so that Google doesn't ban you. I mean, the worst thing in the world, and this is where people complain about Google, is if you don't show up at all on Google. That's the end of the world. Mm-hmm. You don't exist on the Internet. So I would be very careful about search engine optimizations. What you don't want to do is get banned.
Yes.
So really the basics are have good content. I can't imagine there's a whole lot of other can-top advertising companies.
Actually, we're the first in the world to patent it, so I'm hoping...
that'll help.
I'm hoping we do the right thing and do the correct things in the HTML, et cetera, to get the word out.
Well, I think, Advercan, you've got it in the URL, but it's in the domain, but it would also be good to have it in the URL. You've got it in the name of the page, which is good, Cantop Advertising. But you see how you have repeated Cantop Advertising in 2 different spellings, and that is the kind of thing you see up at the top of the page here. This is in your document title.
The title tag.
Yeah, that actually could get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Because they call it keyword spamming, and Google can actually say, well, wait a minute. As soon as you start repeating tags, they go, whoa. That's something we don't like. So I think it's more risky to try to optimize for Google than it is to just do the best job you can. Would you agree, Amber?
Yeah, I would agree. There's also this really interesting site you can look at. I think a viewer sent us to this site. It's called Traffic.com, Traffic.com, and it has some tips in terms of getting listed and getting your results up in search engines. So you can check that out. If you read a lot online, none of this is a secret. So just learn more about it and get educated, and then you'll get some tips in terms of understanding how you can really